get that going as well. Yay, we're live. So let me get the Instagram going. So the Instagram just gives a little bit of a delay. And we are live on Instagram too. All right. Can you hear me good, Teddy? Okay, so we are live again on Set the Pace. This is a bonus episode that we got. I have the honor to have Dr. Karla on, and again, DJ um, made time for us to be here together one more time. So today we are going to talk about. Let me share a few things here with you. If you are listening to this podcast, you can always watch the live stream that is on my Instagram profile at Pamela with double L Tani Mora, and you can see, you have the visuals of the things that we share here. So today we are going to talk about digestive health, but also we're going to cover hydration and as well the gut and mind connection. So we're gonna cover a lot of ground today, but very simple, to the point information. And I want to first give an introduction to Dr. Karla. So DJ has been here with us. He is a men's fitness and mentality coach. And Dr. Karla not only is one of my best friends, she is a PhD and a psychologist, educator. She owns the school, the holistic school, the only holistic school here in Honolulu. And my kids went to it, and she's also the CEO of Globally Brighter. So, in Globally Brighter is her nonprofit that is all about teaching children early childhood education with zero screens, which I absolutely love. So, it's all holistic, and she can talk a little bit more about it when she comes on here. So, she's here with me in the room and with DJ as well. And so let's welcome Dr. Karla. So we're gonna turn that so you guys can see.
Again. Can you see me? So you can ask me?
You're still not on backstage. It's all good, but you're on stage.
Oh, should I?
You just turn the screen to her and
Yep. So
be good to go. Yeah. Yeah. No need.
Yeah. All right. All right. So let me turn this. All right. Hello, everybody. How are you? Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure. We're having some technical issues, as usual. It's a pleasure to be here to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is nutrition and digestive health. Because most importantly, you're not what you eat, you are what you digest. So really talking about how you're digesting your food and things that we can do to improve is extremely important. So very, very honored to be here. Thank you, Pam, for inviting me.
Thank you. So we created this this program called the Foundation of Life about a couple years ago. So this happened through the pandemic, and Dr. Gabby hasn't been here with us this year yet. Give her some love. She lost her puppy, and so she's been nurturing that for now, but she will be here eventually with us. We love you, Dr. Gabby. So Dr. Gabby, Dr. Karla, and Dr. Guy also, they're all in Brazil. Dr. Gabby and Guy are part of the medical advisory board of doTERRA in Brazil. And we created this Foundation of Life, which is totally connected to what Karla is going to talk about. So I'm going to pass some of the slides here. So, and it is connected to hydration. So we're going to talk about also about the importance of hydration and why that is critical in your life. So as you talk, Karla, I'm going to give you the slides, and you take it away.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we're gonna feeding your mind. So one of my specialties is really understanding the importance of the gut development and how we start developing our gut from the very early ages, like once actually we are in our mother's womb. And then once we are born, all those microbiomes are getting developed, are getting stronger and stronger. And it is very related to our mental health, our physical health, it's everything, right? And it takes about 3 years for us to get this our microbiomes really developed. And that's why, usually we have those terrible 2s and 3s. It's because the microbiomes they're really showing up. And it really has to do with how you're feeding your child or how you're feeding your gut, how much water you're drinking, and everything has this connection. So basically, we are much more of our microbiomes than we are human beings. So there is so much inside our bodies, so much microorganisms that we're not able to see. I think if were able to see, we'll be very scared. Thousands, millions, trillions actually of them. And sometimes when we put a microscope and we see those things moving, some people get really scared, but we need them. This is our foundation. That's how it's important of feeding them.
Can you hear me? I'm unmuted now. So we were
But we're
sorry we're
still
having some.
live.
There we
We're still
go.
live.
There we
Now,
go.
yes.
All good.
Wonderful.
Okay.
I'm
Should we
quality
start?
control.
Take it
Over?
away.
Or no?
Can
Okay.
she hear you okay?
I'm not here. Yeah. I mean, now she says yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Tons. So basically what she was saying, right? And I want to kind of reiterate this because this is really cool. There is an image here, if you're looking at it with us. There is an image of the human body, and most of it is microbial cells, 100 trillion. Only from your thigh down is actually human cells. So
Yes.
basically, from your thigh down, so part of your leg is made out of cells. The other part of you is made out of bugs.
Bugs.
So cool.
Isn't that amazing? And some people are just freaking out, cleaning and killing the bugs all over all the time. Which, guys, it's impossible. They're you have much more. It's more than the stars, right? If you're putting all the bugs together, so we need them. Actually, they are working 24/7 to keep us healthy. We have to be very appreciated, and not only that, really taking care of them. And they need, of course, food they need food to thrive. So it's really important the quality. So that's why I'm always emphasizing you're not what you eat, you're really what you are digesting. Because your digestion is, which means the bugs, the soldiers, whatever is inside your body, different types of colonies is really working 24/7, and they need nutrients. So if you're eating potato from a bag that is or anything that it's not healthy or not really food, if you're really going to talk about food, if you're not nurturing, there is no food in that bag of packages that you bought, you're not nurturing. So you're just eating. And the bugs, the soldiers are like, please, help me. So those 3 first years are so important, and it really influences on your personality, right? So what happens on the next slide? Oh, okay.
I have a question
Yeah.
here really fast. So think about this, parents, right? DJ's not a parent yet, but
Yet.
we were all a baby at one point, obviously, right? So the first 3 years of life, you have the complete colonization of your gut. So, Dr. Karla, what happens when we give or take an antibiotic within those 3 first years of life?
Yeah, so that's a very, very good question. And unfortunately, statistically in the United States, usually a 1-year-old baby has already taken 3 different types of antibiotics, right, by 12 months. So that's a lot. So what happens with antibiotics? It kills the bad bugs. However, it does also do the same service for the good bugs. So it kills everything. So the colonization process is it's like imagine a fire in the forest. We are basically a forest inside with a lot of soil that needs to be nurtured. So if you kill everything, you have to restart all over again. So probiotics, prebiotics are very important when you're taking antibiotics. To nurture. However, it takes on average 3 more years for you to colonize. So let's suppose if you're a 1-year-old baby and you're taking antibiotics on average, and it really depends what you're eating, how you're digesting, how you're nurturing your bugs. It needs like on average 2.5 to 3 more years to colonize and have this adequate and effective colonization of microbiomes in your body.
Did you get that, DJ?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You take that, and then it's 3 years of damage for you to get that back.
Yeah, it's absolutely detrimental.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So parents, as a mother, right? Karla has 3 girls. I have 3 kids. I want you to be able to be super aware of that, because there are other ways.
Yes.
And this is something we're going to continue to talk about through the year here at Set the Pace, because our focus is health and wellness. And there are ways for you to go away from what's been taught for so long and start doing and writing a different story, especially for the next generation, right? And the way that you take care of yourself, the way that you do health, it has a lot to do with how your parents did. So a lot of it probably is going to entail you breaking cycles, and that's okay. And it's not as easy as it sounds, but there is ways. And so keep tuning in every Monday here for us to be able to share with you some of these ways. And today we're gonna give you a few different solutions too.
And just to add something here, there are plenty of studies showing that doctors usually, when they prescribe antibiotics, usually 70 to almost 90% of the times, the kids did not need really an antibiotic, right? So they prescribe without really, sometimes it's just, okay, let's do it. They are not 100% sure, because sometimes it's the virus. It's not going to even work. So just be careful, like question, take a look, ask another doctor, ask a more holistic doctor, just to see, because there are so many options. And unfortunately, that's the first go-getter for the doctors. Okay, take these antibiotics, and sometimes it's not even going to work for that specific issue that you had once you went there to meet the doctors for the doctor's visit. So most of the times, and that's statistically, the antibiotics they're going to prescribe you is not even effective for what you need, or even needed for what you need. Just think about that. And it is possible for you. Like, I have 3 kids, none of them have ever taken antibiotics. However, doctors have already suggested me to give. And so there are different routes, not only one, there are so many different routes for you to go.
Amazing. So going through going with the what you're talking about. So we talk about like soldiers, right? So health dietary changes are needed some most times, but if we this is something that she talked about through the pandemic, it was like brilliant. If we don't give our bugs the fruits and vegetables, they will not crave fruits and vegetables, right? So you talk about like the warriors that you have, the
Mhm.
soldiers you have in your gut. So elaborate a little bit more on that.
Okay, so we have good and bad bugs. As I said, it's impossible for you to have a microbiome only with good bugs. And I also the example that I give is in our society. We have good and bad people. Like if you have a child, even if you pray every single day for your child to never get bullied or to never have a bad experience, it's just or to meet a bad person or a mean person or have a mean friend or have a broken heart. This is not going to happen. It makes you stronger. You have the song, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. That's the idea of the bad bugs actually in your gut. It's really to, they're there to say, oh, are you strong enough? And the good bugs are so strong. However, they need to be fed. So when you're eating junk food, sugar, if you're going to some, places that are considered the best French fries, I'm not going to name names here. I think you know. You're
DJ loves that place. Irony, guys.
yeah,
That's
okay, yeah,
if you look at the guy, you'll be like, of course it doesn't go to that.
of course. So you're feeding the bad guys. So you're either feeding the bad guys or the good guys. So if you're not feeding the good guys, it's just what happens to ourselves if we don't eat. We get weaker and weaker. And in your microbiomes is the same thing. So if you're feeding more the bad guys who love those French fries and they love those ice creams full of color added things, that's what you're going to be thriving because we are going to have more population of those people when they go in front of those drive-throughs. You're like, oh yeah, no, we want that, right? Because they communicate with you. They're real guys. They really communicate. They tell you what they want to eat. They tell you if you're thirsty or not. They tell you if you either want water or Coke, right? They tell you everything. Actually, we are just messengers. They tell us and we do whatever they want us to do. So if you're feeding the bad ones, you're going to eat bad food. So if you want to reverse, you can it's hard to kill them because you're going to say, I need that sugar. I need a donut. I really want that. You're going to say, no, I'm not going to do that today because you have to feed the good ones and literally kill the bad ones or the overpopulation of the bad ones. And usually, according to studies, and again, we know so little about microbiome. It's just, again, it's trillions of them, trillions. We know nothing, to be very honest. So if we have the same podcast maybe 1 year from now or even 6 months, maybe we have different information about them because it's trillions, trillions and trillions. So however, what we know, we need them and we can feed the good ones. And in order to kill the bad ones, on average needs 21 days. That's why usually we ask for a 30-day challenge or something so we can empower the good ones. And after 30 days, you're not going to be asking for a French fries because you kind of, if you didn't kill it, at least it's a weaker kind of bug inside your stomach. Amazing.
So, as we know, and this is something that you've shared before, and this has a lot to do with what DJ does as well. The factors that shape the gut are connected to a lot of things, not only diet and nutrition. It has lifestyle, age, medication, birth, genes, and even geographic location, right? And this is where I'm going to turn to DJ a little bit to elaborate that lifestyle change, diet, nutrition, because that is what you do. So, do you bring this to your clients? Is it something that you already incorporate, try to educate them on? How what does it look like?
Yes, a very good question. So I think what's cool is there were a lot of things we actually just saying a second ago. And I was like, oh man, I'm pulling so many threads from that. So, I mean, I've spoken about this before. I've made posts on it before in the past, and people don't like to listen to it too much. It's not the most interesting information for people who are not just like nerding out, right? So, but when it comes to the gut biome, one thing I've said often is we don't really know whether or not, just because there are 100 trillion bacteroids and cells in there, right? More than what we have in our human body. We're not really sure whether or not we're essentially the monkey that's filled up with all these trillions of bacteria cells, or if we're actually the bacteria cells who basically convince ourselves we're the monkey after the time, right? Because so much of our behavior is governed through here, right? There are multiple, there's so many different life forms out there that have a serotonin nervous system, a gut biome, but don't have a brain. So I would argue this isn't even the second brain, this is the original brain,
Yes.
right? So because of it, if people can start thinking to themselves, if I'm actually more of the bacteria inside the monkey, maybe you'll have a different perspective when it comes to antibiotics. But now you should be destroying them, what you're eating, how it's affecting them. Because if you think, hey, these are just foreign agents inside my belly, why would you care what happens to them?
Yeah.
You say, no, wait a second, you're actually the foreign agents. That's you. You've convinced yourself you're the monkey. But if you keep doing too much damage in here, it's going to mess you up. Because we've had all different types of information that's come out even since I became a trainer in 2007. All kinds of stuff about how it connects to your vagus nerve, how it does when it comes to, and I'll actually want to ask you too when it comes to like we'll talk about the vagus nerve and stimulation, how that actually can help you store fat independently of caloric intake, right? There's so much that goes on with your gut biome that people completely just, it goes into my mouth, it just much disappear into the ether. I can eat terrible bad food, nothing's going to happen to me. Now, mind you, we've all lived long enough to see the person who is on the street corner, like when I lived in San Francisco, shooting heroin for 40 years and they're still alive. How is that possible, right? That's always going to be the exception. But there's so much toward overall health, understanding who we are, what our behaviors are, that can only be described through here. And the more you start to study the gut biome, the more you're like, whoa, this is taking a whole new turn. And what I tell my clients too is there are multiple ways to think about training. You can think to yourself, okay, if I'm eating and I'm sleeping and I'm doing these kind of things to optimize my health, what should I prioritize? Right now, obviously in fitness and in health, you should prioritize sleep. Sleep is like king, top of the ladder. So why is it that nobody speaks about eating to optimize sleep?
Yeah.
Right? So I break it down to different sections. So I said, essentially, every cell on Earth has a circadian rhythm. Okay? Because of it, it's a daytime, nighttime. That's pretty much influenced by light, it's influenced by the time of day, it's going to be influenced by different factors, right? Food can also help to tell your body what time of day it is. So we know that in terms of your nervous system, you're more sympathetic during the daytime, and you're more parasympathetic at nighttime. Now, when it comes to eating food, carbs, proteins, and fats, which are your basic three macronutrients, they interact with your enteric nervous system to also give your body more signals. So if I eat something that is fast digesting carbohydrate or something starchy, it's going to push my body into more of a sympathetic response. If you're in more of a fight or flight sympathetic response, digestion goes down. Vice versa, right? If you're eating something like protein, which requires so much energy to kind of break down and metabolize in your stomach, then obviously your body's going to say, hey, cool, let's pull you back more into a parasympathetic response. So food can also adjust our behavior. And we know that too. You give a kid sugar, he's not going to fall asleep, right? If someone's going to run a marathon, you don't give him a steak. You know these things, right? But then if you think to yourself, if your body needs to have a natural rhythm throughout the day, how can I optimize sleep? Well, if I eat too much heavy protein or things that require too much digestion during the daytime, does it mean that my body's circadian rhythm gets flipped around at nighttime? Could that be the reason why I'm having issues sleeping or testosterone production? There's so much that goes into it. People just completely discount the impact of food and what signals you're telling your body, right? If we know that carbohydrates push you more into sympathetic, protein more into parasympathetic, if you eat both at the same time, what is that going to do to your digestion? Are you getting both nutrients? Like you said, it's not just what you're ingesting, it's what you're also digesting. All right, so when I talk to my clients, a lot of times they go through like a fine-tooth comb. What are your major issues? Oh, I can't sleep at night. Cool. Let's just give you some basic factors on how we can understand our gut biome and what it's making you do. So I'm a much bigger proponent. The more I study it, the more I realize your gut biome does way more than you think it does.
Oh, yes.
It's fascinating, right?
It's
It's like an
infinite.
endless, it's
Oh, yeah.
endless.
We know so little.
And I added this as you're speaking. 70% of the body's immune system dwells in the
Yes.
digestive tract. So
Yeah.
not only that, but there's also back to the first way that people take care of those types of situations is to go to the traditional way.
Yeah.
And then you kill all the good stuff.
Yep.
And the good and the bad goes, right? And sometimes the bad doesn't go.
Exactly.
Only the good goes.
Yeah.
And
The
it's
good goes
a
for sure.
recurring issue. It comes back again and again, and comes back stronger. So the whole idea of having this lifestyle that's integral is for you to, one, you don't have to get sick, right? You should be able to and not feel tired.
And just to add something,
In the
when we
afternoon.
get sick, usually, I'm not saying all the time. However, we get locked down at home and on our beds. Grounding, which we mentioned about where you live, right? Going outdoors when you are sick, actually, it's very good. For you to, even sometimes I go to the beach, just you're not going to stay for the whole day. It's just like to nurture your body, get grounding, just walk barefoot on the sand or on the grass. It's so powerful. So we take for granted that, oh, I have to stay home, I cannot touch anything. It's about holistic is taking a look not only of the food, how you go outside. Do you ground yourself? Do you walk barefoot? People don't do that anymore, right?
Especially in big cities, right? You don't walk.
Especially.
Here in Hawaii, I have to fight with the kids to put shoes and clothes on. So
I hear that's great.
yeah, if you knock on my door, and all the girls know, like Teddy's here many times, she's been to the house, and I'm like, sorry, the little ones are naked, and it's totally, I feel like it's such a good way for them to get that sunlight, for them to get connected to nature, right? But well, granted, here in Hawaii, we have a little bit more connection to that. So going now to integral wellness, and I'm sharing here nutrition and digestion, which is the bottom of that. And that is the focus of our talk today. So if nutrition is not on point, and it doesn't have to be perfect, right? And I'm sure maybe DJ works like that too when he's training his clients. I am his client, guys.
Oh,
But I'm starting,
yeah.
so I'm still finding out how the whole thing works. But you understanding that nutrition doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be like, what is your percentage? Like 80-20, 90-10, 90% consistent, 10% you give a little bit of slack, or maybe you give 5%. How do you operate, both of you? So you as a trainer, what is your rule of thumb?
My rule of thumb is most people have issues eating correctly in the first place. So before I start giving allowances, what I try to do is just try to get them low-hanging fruit, right? So I look at issues. Most people are trying to lose weight. So the first thing I tell them is, okay, well, what are some things that can help to prevent you from overeating, right? Well, obviously take care of the performance. Get you on a program, get you working out, I'll have it go. But when you're away from me, the other 23 hours in a day, I can't watch you. All right, which means the other 96% of the day, you're doing your own thing. So for that reason, it's going to take a while. I tell the clients all the time, you have to be in harmony with your body. You have to respect its own behavior patterns, the ones that you forced it to learn after all these years. It doesn't correct overnight. So I say, instead of saying, oh, you know what? I promise you when I go to a party, I won't eat that. I don't believe you. So what you can do, two things. Before you consume food, I want you to go ahead and just chug 16 to 20 ounces of water, because the stomach responds to a stretching mechanism to help yourself feel more full. Give yourself some water volume just to help to slow things down. Then I'll also say, focus on eating your protein first. Eat your protein before you eat your cookies and stuff. Because for one, the protein takes a lot longer to break down. Number two, it's going to have the highest amount of satisfaction, make you feel fuller longer than anything else. So if you do eat that steak before the mashed potatoes, you probably won't finish the mashed potatoes. But if you start with the mashed potatoes, that vehicle, that reward system to your brain is going to be like, anything else is on the plate, eat it all, right? And that's kind of what happens. I tell my clients all the time, like, your food has natural limits. Anything that's very whole foods and just natural, you can't overeat. Nature made it that way for us to be in harmony with it, right? If you had just steak by itself and nothing added to it, you'll stop very soon. You start adding salt, maybe some extra carbs to it, then you go forever, right? Same thing with eggs. If I said, here, just eat these plain eggs, no one can ever overeat eggs. It'll stop you. But hey, you put some holiday sauce, you put egg, you put muffin, right? There's all kinds of ways to jazz it up. So when you eat things by themselves, it's better. So I say, chug your water, eat your protein first, and then try to eat as many whole foods with the least amount of ingredients as possible. Let's just focus on that, right? And I'll tell them too, over the course of your day, if your goal, say if you're a man who weighs like 170 pounds, then I'll say for now your goal is going to be 150 grams of protein. I don't really mind what else you do as long as every single day you get your water intake that you need and you get your grams of protein. And what that's going to do is if they're focused on the protein, they know they have to get it in because it might be tough for them, right? They're thinking to themselves 150 grams over the course of maybe 3 meals, 50 grams of protein each meal, right? You start to break it down. Hey, egg only has 6.
It's a
And they go,
lot.
wow. But if you can force them to invest in that, their mind is now focused on the protein. And I've learned that is the best way to get them on track to something different, as opposed to saying, here, have this and have this whenever you want to. The brain, if anything, might just feel like, hey, if I can have fries in a burger, why can't I have more fries in a burger? Why is he only telling me to have half? It won't know any difference. But if you say, look, focus on these tenets first, your body will correct itself. I'm a much bigger fan of the diet by addition as opposed to diet by subtraction. Like eat whatever you want, as long as you get these things in first. That seems to work a lot better.
You prioritize, right?
Yeah.
Is your camera open on the
It's supposed to
StreamYard?
be. I see it kind of.
We can hear you,
Right,
but we
yeah.
can't see
There we
you.
go. There we go.
There you are.
Much better.
So you talked about salt, and we have talked about many times the whole 30-day thing, right? So
Mhm.
21 days to change a habit, 21 days to reestablish your gut flora as far as like getting it started. And I'm loving the fact that we have a challenge starting on Monday. And so I'm going to add the information of the challenge here because I feel that challenges are great for people to get in a rhythm and they're able to establish some habits, and what sticks, what doesn't, and it's fine. And you keep working on that. But there are some habits that there should be priority, right? So if you are focusing on performance and changing your lifestyle and maybe the way you look, the way you feel, whatever your goal is, you have to have those priorities in the front of the line. And my understanding and my experience is nutrition has to be number one, right? Hydration and nutrition.
Yep.
So when it comes to hydration, I'm going to kind of blow your mind a little bit, even as trainers here. Okay. So you talked about salt, and it's something that not a lot of people talk about. And I am always like, why aren't you guys talking about salt? Right. So we have hydration, water intake. What is your rule of thumb for water quantity? Like how much water do we drink a day?
So I might be a little more controversial on this end, actually. So here's what I've come to understand. The original dietary recommendations for water consumption were made over 100 years ago, right? And back during that time, a lot of the information that we got about human body, things we should eat, hydration levels, actually came from the only people who were testing things on the regular scientifically to gain some sort of performance advantage, which were probably soldiers, right? So a lot of stuff, I tell people all the time, like the food guide pyramid isn't there to demonize things. What happened was that, along with water, is they were saying, hey, look, our soldiers, who are technically the fittest and the strongest to do things overseas for the longest amount of time, have done these things to be successful. So I guarantee you, if the American public does it too, they'll also be strong. But they didn't quite realize that when you translate it to our society, it doesn't equally translate. So what happened? They said, okay, if you're in war times and you need to be able to get some sort of food, well, what's the best way to stay alive during war times? Get as much bread and grains as you can to store energy. Get whatever vegetables and agriculture might be on the floor. And then all the way to our top of the pyramids are the most difficult to actually acquire. Meat, only some if you can, right? So it's not like they're trying to be demonized as much as, hey, if you're in wartime, this is a good recommendation. You need to stock up on carbs and stuff because you never know when you can get anything else, right? And also agriculture was always around the ground, grab it and go. So that was a very good recommendation, right? Same thing with water. Drink before you get thirsty. Why? Because you don't know when you have your next bottle of water again. You have no idea, right? So now that we live in society to where water is very plentiful, we're not in war conditions. But the reason I tell my clients generally, outside of any issue you might have with your kidneys or some doctor recommendation, just drink when you're thirsty. That's what I tell them. Because I tell them all the time, like drinking, a lot like eating food, ingestion doesn't mean digestion, or drinking water doesn't mean retention. What are your electrolyte profiles? What does it look like? How often are you taking it, right? What is your sodium like? All these things come into play. So some people say, oh, I drink so much water all day long and I piss all day long. I'm like, that's not useful, right? You shouldn't just be pissing all day long. That's not natural. There's an issue with getting yourself hydrated. So you're drinking a lot, but you're not being hydrated.
Unless you're pregnant. Like if you're pregnant, you're peeing
Some
all
sort
the
of
time.
other exception. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But generally, I tell people drink when you're thirsty. You should always have electrolytes in what you're drinking. Big fan of that.
Yes, and
I have a different opinion.
I know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
so
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
though because
Yeah, right.
she's like, if you drink and you're thirsty, you're late. You're already
very
late.
Okay.
late, yeah, when it
I love
comes
to hear
to, yeah.
But give the poop analogy. I think that's so awesome. We talked a little bit about that last time, but
So actually, I do study a lot about water and water and mental health. And most of the times when we're talking about memory issues, or Alzheimer's. Actually, there's a study on that, which I'm studying a lot recently. It has to do with water. So my recommendations are like, if you're thirsty, your body's already asking desperately for help actually. So when your brain is only 2% dehydrated, only 2%, which is you don't even notice that you're 2% dehydrated, you're already having some memory issues, right? And what worries me, our brain is very resilient. So it takes about 30 years, 20 to 30 years for us to really know what's happening to the brain, which is very unfortunate because when you're diagnosed with something, with any brain injury, your brain already cried for help many, many times in many ways. It could be a headache, that becomes stronger. So the water, you should always have water half hour before you eat something or 1 hour after because it really damages the nutrients to get digested through your microbiomes. When you wake up, when you're feeling tired, you are lacking water. So when you wake up, instead of drinking coffee, just drink water, to see how you are. You can add, essential oils if you want to give a taste or whatever. And
I have something better to share today.
you should
No, not
hydrate.
better, but
So usually,
you already know.
you
She already knows what we're gonna talk about. Are you excited about it?
yeah,
I'm super excited. Hang on, I'm dropping in a little bit.
And so hydration is key. So what happens is when you go to bed, so let's go back to one of Pamela's favorite topic. When you go to bed, if you're not hydrated, right, your body now it's 80% water, your body. So your body, when you go through, that's why he mentioned about sleep is so important. I think it's top number one, and that's why many people they don't sleep. If you're dehydrated, you're gonna be waking up. So when your body's full of water and all your bugs is like, okay, now it's time to clean. Imagine you're cleaning your house without water. You can. However, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to do that. I mean, I just ate my dinner. Can I wash my dishes? No water, just a little bit of water, and you can wash. However, you're going to have a hard time. So your body is like, okay, I'm ready to wash it out. My toxins, worries, feel refreshed for the next day. And then your body's like, oh, there's no water. What happens? Our body is very smart. So starts kind of squeezing parts of our organs, literally, to get water, especially from our guts where there is poop there, right? There is all the dirt. Most of the dirt goes there, as you know, right? That's where the trash can is there. So they're going to squeeze and reuse that water, recycle that water. That's why our poop gets harder and harder and harder, and constipation happens because all the water says, we don't have enough water to clean or to detox during our sleep. Let's use the poop water, right? Or whatever we need. So
Everybody's reaching out for the water bottle at this very second.
yeah, your water, and it's literally what happens. Another clue to see if you're really detoxing. Usually when I tell my clients, I'm like, oh, I drink enough water. I say, yeah, that's interesting. What do you do the first thing when you wake up? Usually you pee, right? Because again, when we are washing something, we need to get the dirty water out. So if you wake up and you don't pee, that's really really go to the doctor immediately because it's a problem. That's really a problem. However, another issue telling you if your body is really detoxing is if you poop the first thing in the morning. So if you're doing both pee and pooping, you're really detoxing because then your body's like, okay, the trash can is out of your body. So that's one of the key things. you really need to do number 2 in the morning, ideally at night before you go to bed too, at least twice, but at minimum once a day. And people, constipation is a huge issue in the United States. And actually, when it comes to water, 87% of us don't drink enough water according to the recent studies. So most of us, they are dehydrated. And it's according to the minimum of water that we should, drink per day. So just be careful because water is a must. So I just
So the going back to the poop water really fast. This is a visual that she gave to us a few years ago, and I was like, man. So if you have brain fog,
brain fog.
it's dirty water
Dirty water.
that your brain is recycling.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my gosh, so let's drink water.
80% of your brain is water.
And now I'm backing up a little bit into that gut and digestion and everything that is connected to it in the gut and the bugs, right? So I'm sharing here. If you're listening to this, you can come back here on the live. I'm sharing about the 4 P's of probiome, which you have 30 bioactive components. And I share this with Karla and other nutritionists that we have that I'm working with, and it blows their mind. So if people like to geek out on stuff, this is it, right? So you see all the 24 probiotic strains from 22 different species, and the prebiotic and the postbiotic and the phages, which is a thing. It's huge. So if you're talking digestion and gut, this is incredible. This is called PB Assist and Probiome Complex. And the version of this is a pill, but there's also the powder form of it, which comes in a little stick, and that's perfect for kids. Okay. So this is incredible. And not only we're talking gut flora, we're talking also flora as well, like vaginal flora, anything to do with the reproductive system. Okay. That's all flora that, and even, I know, sorry, DJ, super girl talk now, but like, hey, smells, guys, you should have neutral smells. Okay. This is important, and this is all connected to your flora.
It is.
No,
Okay.
that's a very good message for guys. So
Guys and girls.
we have no problem.
Right? So I'm sharing this because it has to do with the gut and digestion. But here is the thing that I'm super excited about. And I've already told DJ and Karla a little bit about this, but not in detail. So on February 1st, we launch our recharge. And this is something I've asked many times for the company to bring on. And again, it takes time because they bring the best of the best. So we have our electrolytes being released in the market, and it does have calcium, magnesium, potassium, and sodium.
Mhm.
And the importance of the type of magnesium, okay? And it has a little bit of information on the calcium and why you need it. Most of us know that, but one of the things that I feel that we can benefit greatly from it is the PMS symptoms,
Yeah.
especially for women. Men have that too. Okay, you guys PMS for
We
sure.
do, man. Have
Yeah.
peanuts.
What?
Never heard about it?
Might sound anecdotal, but okay.
I promise you, my husband does. So we have, and here we go again with the Wi-Fi. Again. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're back. Awesome. I love it. I'm going to add one more thing here on stage for you. So sodium, like a lot of people think, oh, too much salt, right? So I want DJ to speak a little bit on it, especially if you're active, right? So people are afraid of salt.
That's because I think salt gets demonized for causing hypertension, right? So even in the fitness space, for the longest time, this is actually pretty recent that guys like Stan Efferding have gone out to help to dispel this, but low sodium affects men and women. I think it affects women negatively asymmetrically. A lot of times when in the fitness world, if women are getting on stage and ready to compete, bikini competition figure, they'll completely drop all their salt. And that is horrendous for women, even more than guys. So I think a lot of the updated data encouraging women to continue taking salt, because it's like, look, I tell you all the time, you're not going to make muscular contractions the way you want to if you're not hydrated. To keep the hydration in your body, you want the sodium, right? And everyone knows that. Oh, what does sodium cause? Water retention. Okay, not necessarily water retention as much as it keeps you hydrated, right? You got to get away from the negative idea of retention. It's not retention. It's called having adequate water in your system,
Yeah.
right? You should not be trying to dehydrate yourself purposely. If you're getting ready for competition, there's other ways to do it, right? There's other ways to get the lean look you need without saying, hey, I'm going to cut out my salt for 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I think that's nonsense, right? So having electrolyte stacks that do have sodium, potassium, magnesium, absolutely mandatory for everyone. I mean, I don't have one client where I've ever said to limit their salt. Not in that regard, anyway.
Yeah, I'm super excited because this improves cellular hydration. So it's not fake, right? Hydration, it's not shallow. Like you're really hydrating your body.
Yeah.
And we have also 75 deep ocean minerals in our electrolytes. I was taking up to, well, I was still taking until this is launched from another company, and it's decent. But I tried the electrolytes for a month that we were launching, and it's night and day. So ours comes in a liquid form. So I think you can see here. And you can, and it's easy to use, and I feel like everybody needs it. So the kids, my kids drink it. So they have a little bit of electrolytes in their water every day. And there is no GMO, there is no dairy, gluten, preservatives, artificial ingredients, or flavorings. So when you see like natural flavorings on the ingredient list, so take a look at that. Make sure you know that that's not the best ingredient. And everyone should be having this, especially if you're in a place like Hawaii, because you're sweating all the time, right? So it does have an impact on hormones because it also regulates your blood pressure, and that's connected too. So all of the things that I hear people complaining about, and they usually have to medicate. There are sometimes some changes that you can implement, and maybe you can talk to your doctor, and then you can maybe do a different approach, right? But your doctor has to be open to it. That's another thing. Make sure you know that your doctor is up to speed with the things that are out there. And most of them, they don't even know what nutrition is,
I was
right?
about to say that, yeah, it's sometimes you might be telling them some news, right? But they don't always keep up to date with their information.
They don't study nutrition.
No.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I love them. I have so many friends who are doctors, and they're lovely. They're open. They keep up with the times. You know, we are talking holistic plus traditional, which is functional, right? So you can have a little bit of both and use that to everybody's advantage. And another thing is magnesium, right? So magnesium
That's amazing.
is, we have 4 types of magnesium here on this electrolyte. And there's another thing that I'm loving that we have, and it is baobab, which in Brazil we use a lot. It's very well
That
known.
sounds familiar. Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, it's a tree, and it's incredible for hydration. That's why it's in the electrolytes, on top of having all the other benefits, antioxidants, vitamin A. So I've never seen an electrolyte in the market that has baobab. So we have that, and also the potassium, very important for nerves and muscles and heart function.
Mhm.
So then you can just put it in your water, make it easy, right? So it's not hard. So you do have solutions that are easy to get to, but you need to do it. That's the thing that we need to keep talking about. Like, you have to get to do it, right? So I'm inviting you all to our challenge. We start our challenge on Monday. I think I lost you, DJ.
Yeah.
You weren't on here. Come back. So we'll start our challenge on Monday, and we are doing the challenge based on a metabolic reset, which has everything to do with gut, sleep, rest and management, exercise, lifestyle changes. The goal of it is for people to be able to get some habits down and get the tools that they need to get that spark of action. Because that sometimes, most times, is what we're missing, right? So if I can get something down for a couple of weeks and we have a whole community behind you doing it with you, then you're more likely to show up. And we talked about that last Monday. DJ talked beautifully on it. If you are going for a run at 4 a.m, you commit. That's what you said last Monday, and I was like, I love that. And you woke up at 3:45, and you're like, 3:45, just by myself, I'm not gonna go, right?
Yeah.
But if you have somebody waiting for you outside, you're more likely to. I hope you're not gonna.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
I
bye.
hope you're not going to let
Okay, whole
people.
other issue.
So the challenges, I'm a big fan of challenges. Yes, I love challenges. That's a way for us to get together as a team, as a community.
Mhm.
And here's the invitation. You still have time to join our challenge. I'm sharing a 30-day meal plan with recipes as well.
Wow.
Can you add me real quick?
Yes, let me get you on there again. Got you. So 30 days, and this is the main rock star of our challenge, which is the Meta Power. And I have it right here. And I want to quickly show people how I take it. And this is how you take
Do the same
take
thing.
it
Okay.
too.
Do it,
Okay.
do it.
Let's do it quick.
Guys, don't do so much water. Just put a little bit of water in your mouth and then drop the sachet, mix it a little bit and swallow it.
Good to go.
Okay, you're good to go.
I love this water.
Don't choke on the powder.
Yeah,
So
I don't-
make sure you have water in your mouth first, and it's easy. You just put it in your pocket and you get
Just go.
going. Same thing with the electrolytes. So I'm super excited for the first. So we get to launch that.
Yeah.
My next invitation for you is we're gonna do a sleep challenge in
Oh,
March.
that's
So
exciting.
sleep is king, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, and simple also. Simple things to do. It will improve your sleep.
That's nice.
So commit to
Let's do
your
that.
first 100 days. So we're talking about 30 days at a time, but commit to your first 100 days. Roosevelt said that, right? The 100 days of, yeah, something like that.
I believe
So,
it.
yes. So 100 days. So commit to 100 days of your year. Then
Yeah.
you're past quarter of the way done.
Mhm.
Go there, right? So this is my invitation to you. And I want you to leave a message for people that are in the challenge. So we have lots of people doing the challenge with us, and for people that are on the fence. So why should I do it? Should I do it? Should I not do it? Go, Karla.
All right. So, well, I would definitely do it. I think it's going to change your life in so many ways, especially because, it takes 21 days for you to see. And when you are in a group and really, sharing recipes, and it's much stronger and much more powerful to do this. And, you do it 30 days and then you do this big challenge and you have this community that it's becoming stronger and it's very impactful. And you have also the resources, if you need help, Pam is always, great on giving great suggestions. And the products are amazing and they taste great. So why not? And it's healthy. And if you're helping yourself, your body, your microbiome, all the trillions of them are going to be so happy for your decision. You're helping the whole community. within you.
Happy bugs.
Happy bugs, happy you.
I love it.
Yes. So let's do that. Let's empower our bugs and say thank you to them.
I love it. How about you, DJ? Turn the camera to you again.
On the importance of sleep. The
The
challenge.
challenge.
Yeah,
No,
like why
hydration.
should I do it? Why should I not do it? People that are in the challenge, people that are on the fence. What's your
Well,
message?
I would say anyone who's listening to this, there's a very good chance you don't like the way you look in the mirror. Okay, now there are a few ways you can change that. Eating correctly, working out the way you should, having a good friend group to join you, to help to inspire you, getting good sleep. If you're listening to this, you need to do it anyway, right? Because I would argue that 99% of people do not have a routine of health.
Yeah.
They might do one or two things that could be seen as healthy, or they heard this cool thing on TV, or their friend told them something, or they tried something back in the day and lost weight and gained it all back. Everyone should have a routine of health. So I'd say the sooner you can learn that, the better you're going to be in success. And you can learn this from anyone who's at the top of their field, athletes, business people, men and women. They all have routines that they follow. So if you don't have a routine of health and fitness, you're never going to get to that level. You're never going to get to the point where you're fitter than all your friends. You'll never get to the point where you're living longer than you ever thought you could. Because in today's society, to where people are, 75% of all adults in the US are either overweight and or obese, that's because they don't make a routine of fitness and they don't make a routine of health as a lifestyle. So anytime you hear a challenge like this comes up, and it's just something that you've been watching, you guys are here on the live, and it sounds like something that piques your interest, you need to do it.
Yeah.
Like, don't even think about it. You need to do the challenge, because once you do it, you'll feel so much better when it's done, that you took the initiative, right? I mean, this entire month I've been telling you guys, you need to take action and act first. The best way to get past procrastination is to be the first one to do things, the first one to show up to work, the first one to turn in your project, right? Also be the first one to join a challenge if it piques your interest, right? If this is something that you need, and I'm sure 99% of you need it, Join this challenge. I guarantee you it's going to help.
I love
Today,
it.
don't say tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's not tomorrow.
Because usually
Be the
say,
first
okay,
one to
I'll
sign up.
start tomorrow. I'll
Yeah.
do it tomorrow.
Start right now.
There's still time for you to join us. We start on Monday officially, but we already have incredible information being shared in the groups. So you deserve to be happy. That's always how I'm
Yes.
going to end our talks. At the end of the day, whatever you do, whatever we're up to, we all want to be happy. So whatever floats your boat, what makes you happy, and
your bugs
yes,
happy.
There you go.
If your bugs are happy,
I say leave other bugs. Okay? Make yourself happy.
make your bugs
Yeah.
happy. Okay.
your bugs happy. You're gonna be happy.
And there you go.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
your presence, your
for
deliverance,
having me.
your love,
Appreciate you.
and always the support. Karla has been here
Mhm.
with me for years now. Love you so much, and I'll see you next time
Yes.
on Set the Pace Monday.
Monday. Let's do it.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha, guys.
Mahalo.